Lights, camera, disaster. Stunt performers are the unsung daredevils of Hollywood, the brave souls who leap from buildings, crash cars, and outrun explosions, all so we can clutch our popcorn in awe. But what happens when the cut comes a little too late? Sometimes even the pros face risks that don't play nice. Buckle up as we take a chilling dive into 5 tragic tales of stunt performers whose pursuit of movie magic came with heartbreaking consequences. Warning: you might think twice before watching that next action sequence. It was 1978, and A.J. Bakunis was about to cement his place in Hollywood history, or so he thought. Perched atop a 22-story construction site in Lexington, Kentucky, the 27-year-old stunt performer was ready to pull off a record-breaking free fall. With cameras rolling and a crowd gathered below, A.J. stood at the edge, determined to prove that gravity had met its match. Then, with one bold step, his story took a devastating turn. Albert John Bakunis Jr. wasn't always a Hollywood daredevil. Once upon a time, he was a gym teacher in Fort Lee, New Jersey. But in 1974, he traded chalkboards for crash mats, diving headfirst into a career as a stuntman. His big break came the following year in a Dog Day afternoon, and before long he was renowned for his fearless, jaw-dropping falls. Tall buildings, helicopters, no problem for A.J. Bakunis. By 1978, Bakunis was rubbing elbows with A-list stars, doubling for Burt Reynolds in Hooper, Zrania, and breaking records left and right. Earlier that year, he'd set a world record with a daring 230-foot fall from a helicopter, only to see it shattered by fellow stuntman Dar Robinson, who bested him with a 286-foot leap. That loss stung, and Bakunis wasn't about to let it slide. He was determined to reclaim his title, come what may. His chance came while working on Steel, a drama about skyscraper construction. Doubling for actor George Kennedy, Bakunis had already nailed a 9-story fall for the film, but that wasn't enough to satisfy him. Hungry for the record, he persuaded the production team to let him go higher, much higher. The new stunt would take him 315 feet above the ground, an altitude that made even seasoned professionals nervous. A doctor on set and an air safety expert both tried to talk him out of it, but A.J. wouldn't be swayed. On September 21, 1978, with a crowd of around 1,000, including his father, watching below, Bakunis climbed to the top of the towering Concade Towers. Standing on the edge, he took a deep breath and leapt, plummeting toward the safety pad at speeds estimated at 115 miles per hour. But as he hit the pad, disaster struck. The airbag, designed for falls just over 100 feet, split under the impact. A.J. had attempted to reinforce it with a second pad, but the modifications weren't enough. Critically injured, Bakunis was rushed to the hospital. Tragically, he passed away the next day, just shy of his 28th birthday. In the wake of his death, Steel took on an eerie legacy. When it premiered in 1980, the promotional slogan celebrated the triumph of its fictional construction crew. They reached for an impossible dream and built a miracle. But after the film flopped at the box office, the marketing strategy shifted drastically. Renamed Look Down and Die for its re-release in Los Angeles, the movie was rebranded as a harrowing thriller, complete with grim taglines like, "One slip and you're dead." Audiences who attended this re-release were met with an unsettling surprise. The real footage of Bakunis's fatal fall had been edited into the movie. What was meant to be a tribute to his bravery turned into a macabre marketing ploy that left viewers and critics uneasy. A.J. Bakunis's story is one of ambition, courage, and tragedy, a reminder that even the boldest dreams can come with devastating costs. In 1986, Hollywood's king of stunts, Dar Robinson, was at the top of his game, literally and figuratively. At just 39 years old, he was a legend in the industry, boasting an unbeatable 13-year streak as a stunt double without so much as a broken bone. Seriously, the man made leaping off skyscrapers look safer than stepping on a Lego. But fate, it seems, had a cruel plot twist in store for this real-life action hero. Dar wasn't just any stunt performer. He was the stunt performer. Over his career, he shattered 21 world records and even invented the decelerator, a device that let stuntmen pull off jaw-dropping high falls without the need for airbag landings. It made action scenes more realistic and, ironically, safer. From Steve McQueen to Clint Eastwood, Robinson worked alongside the biggest stars and delivered some of the most daring feats in film history. His resume sparkled with achievements, like a breathtaking 311-foot freefall from a helicopter and a nerve-wracking plunge off Toronto's CN Tower, which was, at the time, the tallest freestanding structure in the world. All this made him Hollywood's highest-paid stuntman, a title as hard-earned as it sounds. But Dar wasn't just a behind-the-scenes daredevil. He occasionally stepped into the spotlight, most notably in Burt Reynolds' Stick, where he showcased his trusty decelerator in a hotel rooftop fall. Careful planning and precision were his trademarks, qualities that kept him in one piece despite his death-defying profession. Yet, tragically, even the most meticulous preparation couldn't save him from the unexpected. On November 21, 1986, while filming the movie $1 Million Mystery, Dar Robinson's luck finally ran out. He had already nailed the main stunt sequence for the day, so much so that the emergency medical team on set had been dismissed. All that remained was a seemingly straightforward motorcycle run, zipping along a series of turns at 50 mph for a camera shot. Simple, right? Not quite. As Robinson approached a sharp turn near the edge of an embankment, he missed his braking point. Instead of making the turn, his motorcycle veered straight off the path. Within moments, the bike, and Dar, plunged over the edge. The fall itself was bad, but the landing was catastrophic. He struck a rock ledge, tumbling further down the slope, and was ultimately impaled by a tree branch. It was a devastating accident. Despite a rush to get him medical help, the injuries were too severe, and Dar Robinson died en route to the hospital. Hollywood mourned the loss of one of its brightest talents. In 1988, a documentary titled The Ultimate Stuntman, a tribute to Dar Robinson, was released to honor his incredible career and pioneering contributions to the stunt world. Films like Cyclone and Lethal Weapon, which Robinson worked on before his passing, included tributes in his memory. In fact, the end credits of Lethal Weapon bear a heartfelt message, saluting Robinson as one of the greatest stuntmen the industry had ever seen, a sentiment shared by all who had the privilege of knowing him. Dar left behind not only a grieving family, his wife Linda and sons Troy and Landon, but also a legacy that reshaped the stunt profession. His innovations and fearless artistry continue to inspire generations of stunt performers who still strive to match the high bar he set. At just 26 years old, Wu Yongning was living life on the edge, literally. Known as the Chinese Superman, he became a social media sensation for his jaw-dropping, heart-pounding stunts on the tops of skyscrapers. Wu was a pioneer of roof-topping in China, a trend that saw thrill-seekers dangling from dizzying heights without safety equipment, capturing footage that had viewers gasping and clutching their phones in disbelief. If you thought pulling off a perfect pull-up at the gym was impressive, Wu took it to the extreme, dangling from one hand, balancing on narrow beams, and pulling off mid-air acrobatics at altitudes that made noses bleed. By 2017, Wu had posted over 500 videos of his gravity-defying feats, amassing over 1 million followers who eagerly awaited his next death-defying clip. His videos garnered millions of views, earning him sponsorship deals and even a bit of cash for those jaw-dropping stunts. But Wu wasn't just in it for the fame. His life had a deeper storyline brewing, one that would make his final stunt all the more poignant. On November 8, 2017, Wu set his sights on his next big challenge at the Huanhua Center in Changsha, the capital of China's Hunan province. His plan? To film one of his signature pull-up stunts, a spectacle that would leave his audience breathless. In true Wu style, he free-climbed nearly 20 floors. No ropes, no nets, just sheer nerve and skill. The climb itself was enough to make anyone's palms sweat, but Wu wasn't stopping there. As the camera rolled, he began his performance, showcasing incredible strength and control. However, tragedy struck when he struggled to pull himself back onto the ledge. In a matter of seconds, he lost his grip, plunging roughly 45 feet to a terrace below. The fall was fatal. For weeks, Wu's fans were left in eerie silence, noticing the absence of his usual uploads. Rumors swirled, and soon, confirmation of his death came from his girlfriend, breaking hearts across his massive online following. To add to the tragedy, it was revealed that Wu had taken on this stunt as part of a contest to win money. The reward wasn't just for show. Wu had been planning to propose to his girlfriend the very next day and wanted to help cover medical expenses for his ailing mother. Talk about a modern-day Romeo, only this tale had a gut-wrenchingly sad ending. Amid the grief, Wu's parents were outraged, pointing fingers at the social media platforms that had profited from his dangerous stunts. They argued that these platforms, as commercial entities, had incentivized his risky behavior. Their lawsuit eventually led to a court ruling that held the live-streaming app Huajiao partly responsible, ordering a modest payout of 30,000 yuan, about 4,300 to Wu's family, a small consolation for an immense loss. Wu Yongning's tragic story became a wake-up call, prompting Chinese authorities to tighten regulations on live streaming platforms. Yet, despite the heartbreak and headlines, the appetite for daredevil stunts online didn't wane. Wu's legacy lives on as a stark reminder of the fine line between breathtaking bravery and devastating loss. Let us take you back to 2008. Renowned director John Woo, the mastermind behind Hollywood hits like Face Off and Mission Impossible 2, was gearing up for his grand return to Chinese-language cinema. His ambitious project, Red Cliff, a historical epic chronicling the legendary Battle of Red Cliffs in 208 AD. Think larger-than-life naval warfare, political intrigue, and enough drama to make even Game of Thrones jealous. Expectations were through the roof, not just from Wu's fans, but from the Chinese government itself. This wasn't just a movie. It was a cinematic homage to one of China's most iconic historical events. No pressure, right? But like any grand tale, this one wasn't without its share of misfortune. Wu envisioned Red Cliff as a sprawling, two-part epic that would depict the fall of the Han Dynasty and the rise of the Three Kingdoms era. Naturally, this meant colossal battle sequences, jaw-dropping set pieces, and action scenes so intricate they'd make a Marvel movie look like a backyard play. Yet, challenges began piling up even before the cameras started rolling. For starters, casting was a nightmare. Several key actors dropped out, forcing Wu to scramble for last-minute replacements. Then came the logistical headaches. The Yangtze River, a crucial element of the story's authenticity, was off-limits for filming due to government restrictions. Left with no choice, the production had to rely heavily on special effects, an expensive and time-consuming compromise. But Wu, ever the perfectionist, refused to let these obstacles derail his vision. Little did he know, the worst was yet to come. The real tragedy struck during the filming of a climactic naval battle. Picture this: a small boat was scripted to crash into an ancient warship, triggering a controlled blaze. The scene was designed to be intense, dramatic, and breathtakingly realistic. But on that ill-fated day, the flames leaped beyond the crew's control. A sudden, unplanned burst of fire swept across the set, consuming not just the boats, but the entire scene in a matter of moments. What was supposed to be a cinematic spectacle turned into a nightmare. Amid the chaos, 23-year-old stuntman Liu Yangqing found himself trapped, unable to escape the fast-spreading inferno. Emergency crews acted quickly, managing to rescue other injured crew members, but for Liu, there was no way out. Later, investigations pointed to a volatile gas leak as the likely culprit, which had accelerated the fire and sealed Liu's tragic fate. At the time of the incident, John Woo was in Hong Kong promoting the film. When the devastating news reached him, he was reportedly shattered. He immediately rushed back to Beijing to be with his team, visibly shaken and heartbroken. The production issued a heartfelt statement, expressing deep sorrow and promising full support to Lu's family and the injured crew members. But no amount of words could undo what had happened. For Wu and everyone involved, this wasn't just a production mishap. It was an unimaginable loss. Despite the shadow of tragedy, the production of Red Cliff continued. When the film finally premiered, it was hailed as a masterpiece, earning widespread critical acclaim and smashing box office records across Asia. In mainland China, it even toppled the Titanic as the highest-grossing film at the time, a monumental achievement. But for those who had worked on it, the triumph was bittersweet. No matter how celebrated the film became, it carried the weight of 23-year-old Lu Yanking's untimely and heartbreaking death. His sacrifice became an indelible part of the movie's legacy, a reminder of the immense risks taken to bring epic stories to life. Have you ever watched an old-school action flick and thought, man, they really didn't hold back? Well, in the case of the 1969 film Shark, they might have gone way too far. Directed by Samuel Fuller and starring Burt Reynolds, yes, the mustache himself, and Sylvia Pinal, this movie has gained a grim reputation, not for its plot but for a chilling on-set incident that's been the stuff of Hollywood legend. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into the murky waters of this controversial tale. The film follows Kane, a gunrunner, played by Reynolds, stranded in a remote Red Sea port. There, he meets Anna, a scientist, or so he thinks, who ropes him into diving in shark-infested waters under the guise of scientific research. Spoiler alert, she's not exactly working for National Geographic. Turns out, Anna and her partner are treasure hunters looking to loot a sunken ship. Based on Victor Canning's novel, His Bones Are Coral. The movie was shot over 9 weeks in 1967 in Manzanillo, Mexico, which doubled as the Sudanese coast. By 1969, Burt Reynolds was on his way to becoming Hollywood royalty, but even a rising star needed a stunt double for the riskier scenes. Enter 32-year-old Jose Marco, tasked with handling the film's more perilous moments. It was during the filming of an underwater sequence off the coast of Isla Mujeres, Mexico, that things took a shocking and, some say, suspicious turn. Since CGI wasn't an option, unless you count shaky miniatures, the crew decided to use a real, live shark for authenticity. And that's where the story splinters into 2 versions. In one, the crew had tranquilized a bull shark, but after being hauled ashore and manhandled, the shark wasn't exactly in a zen mood when they returned it to the water. It breached the protective netting and, well, let's just say it wasn't interested in following the script. Another version claims that out of nowhere, a massive, great white shark crashed the party, charging through the net like it owned the place. What followed is straight out of a horror movie. The shark, whether bull, great white, or some other sea beast, allegedly went for Jose Marco. Chaos erupted. Crew members armed with spear guns scrambled to intervene, but it was too late. Marco was attacked in front of horrified onlookers. Though he was reportedly rushed to a hospital, he tragically succumbed to his injuries hours later. Director Samuel Fuller didn't take the incident lightly. He quit the film in disgust when producers chose to exploit Marco's death as a marketing ploy. The film, originally titled Kane, was renamed Shark and advertised as a thriller with real-life danger. Adding fuel to the fire, Life magazine published a series of chilling photos allegedly showing Marco's final moments. But not everyone bought the drama hook, line, and sinker. Enter Dewey Bergman, a journalist from Skindiver magazine. His investigation raised eyebrows and a few red flags. Bergman found 0 evidence of Marco's existence, let alone his death. Local Mexican newspapers were silent on the incident, and the hospital named in the story denied ever treating such a case. Suspicious yet, Bergman wasn't done. He noted inconsistencies in the supposed shark attack footage and pointed out that the shark in the scene appeared sedated, or worse, dead. Marine biologist Richard Ellis backed him up, arguing it was highly unlikely for a great white to break through protective netting. Oh, and the blood in those infamous photos? Allegedly just ketchup. Real tragedy or elaborate hoax? The story of Jose Marco remains shrouded in mystery. Either way, It's a chilling reminder of the extreme, and sometimes questionable, lengths filmmakers have gone to for that perfect shot. In Hollywood, danger might be part of the job, but this story takes it to a whole new level.